Sticking to your budget has so many parts, right? This is not a rework your budget kind of thing. Do it once and you're done. You have to look at all of the pieces, and unfortunately, these pieces are constantly moving, right? But one of those pieces that I really want to talk about today are the things that you believe. Things that you are telling yourself on a regular basis that are keeping you stuck right where you are. Like your budget isn't changing, you're doing the same things over and over and over again, and that's not getting you anywhere, right? You're stuck in consumption mode, trying to learn all these answers before you actually take action. And that is why in this episode, I want to dig deep into 3 things that you're telling yourself that are keeping you not only from sticking to your budget, but from also having financial freedom, financial peace, financial security, and from building wealth so that you can reach and achieve those financial goals that you just feel like are a pipe dream. Like you feel like it's not something you're ever going to achieve, and it just feels devastating, right? So that is what today's episode is all about. So go get your drink, open your heart to God, and let's dive in. If you're ready to build wealth, ensure financial security, stop overspending, and finally create a budget you can stick to, you mama are in the right place. Hi, I'm Molly, a budget coach and financial strategist who went from living paycheck to paycheck to paying off debt, saving money, and going on vacation, all by budgeting. And I help mamas just like you budget and create God-centered systems and routines so that you too can have financial freedom. Now stop pinching those pennies and let's dive in. Are you ready to set up a budget that you can actually stick to? One that does all of the heavy lifting for you? Then I want to invite you to book a budget coaching session. You can find that by going to www.calendly.com/Molly Bunnell, or if you have any questions, feel free to email me at mollybunnell@gmail.com. But you may ask, is budget coaching for me? And I'm going to answer that question with a few questions of my own. So, do you want consistent budgeting numbers every single paycheck? Do you want margin built into your budget so that you're not spending every single dollar? Do you want to know what to do with that margin so it doesn't just get spent randomly in the moment instead of actually being put towards something, being put to work so that you can reach and achieve those dreams that only feel like a pipe dream right now? Do you want a simple tracking system? Do you want the option to automate your money both with the budget itself and with the time and the things that you do so that you can save not only money but also your time? Do you want to be able to stick to your budget, to get help working through your budgeting struggles and not try to figure it out all on your own anymore? Do you want ideas on how to stick to your budget so that you can create boundaries, get help strategizing, and keep from overspending? If your answer was yes to most of these questions, then budget coaching is for you. This is exactly what you get when you book a budget coaching call. A new budget and help working through all of the mindset stuff. The lies you're telling yourself, the uncertainty when it comes to making financial decisions, the support and encouragement to keep going when the things get hard, the accountability when life gets busy and you just don't want to do the work, right? Because that is so easy to do. Essentially, budgeting is 50% action and 50% mindset. So if you are finally ready to stop throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that, something maybe will stick, to stop trying to learn it all before you start taking action, then I want you to pause this episode right now and head over to calendly.com/Molly Bennell. That's CALENDLY.com/Molly with a Y, B as in boy, ENELL, and book a budget coaching session. But if you're still uncertain about what a budget coaching session even is and what it can do for you, then I want you to reach out and connect with me by emailing me at mollybennell@gmail.com so that we can bring clarity to your questions. Let me help you get unstuck. Let me help you stop consuming and start taking action so that you can finally stick to your budget, so that you can finally live in peace, so that you can finally start building wealth and achieving your dreams. Have you ever sat down and questioned the things that you believe? Like, are they true? Where's your proof? Where did that belief come from? Those are questions that I like to think about a lot when it comes to things that I believe, right? Things that pop into my brain and I go, is that true? Is that not true? Should I believe that? Should I not believe it? Now, obviously, I don't try to figure this out all on my own. I definitely take it to God and I dive into the Word a lot, but when it comes to financial beliefs and money beliefs, there are so many things that the world tells us, especially since we weren't raised to know how to handle money. Like, yeah, it's all over in the Bible and people talk about how you need to be good stewards, but nobody really talks about how to do that. Nobody tells you or teaches you how to do that. You just kind of get thrown into it when you get into the real world, essentially, right? And I say that in air quotes, but when you start adulting, right? You're just like, okay, now I have all this money and I don't know what to do with it. Now, your parents may have been awesome and did do some teaching on how to do it, right? Which is extremely helpful, but in school, you'd think that those are the things that you would be taught instead of all the academic things or the real life things that you need to know, like maybe doing laundry or cooking or, even cleaning. Sometimes some of the basic things that you feel like you should know, you don't actually get taught. And I feel like there is just a big gap, especially when it comes to finances, because finances are a big thing and can make or break whether you have a good financial life when you're an adult, right? And so that is why today I just really wanted to dive into some of these beliefs, some of these things that you are telling yourself on a daily basis, because you can say that you want to start sticking to your budget and you want to be amazing at budgeting your money and stop doing things that are going to keep you overspending your money all the time and the impulse buys and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of that can just be a pipe dream, essentially, if you're not trying to fix the true problem with those things. Like the physical budget, the physical things that you do are one thing, but your mindset is what is keeping you stuck. The things that you are believing is what is keeping you from moving forward. And it's those things that you really need to dig into and decide, is this true? Where's the proof? When you sit down and you think about the thought, right? Whatever it is, the lie, it may not be a lie. It can just be a belief. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. Sit down and think about that belief that you are constantly telling yourself on repeat. Is this true? And where's the proof? Go and do a little bit of research. How did you come to form that belief? Was it something that was already told to you when you were younger by the way your family budgeted, right? If they were constantly living paycheck to paycheck as well, then they're going to say things, and maybe they didn't do it intentionally. So don't go and say, oh, it's your fault that I'm a terrible budgeter, because that is not the truth. But we pick up on things, and when we hear things on repeat over and over, that's what makes us believe things, right? There's so much science behind it, and I love learning about the science, and I'm not an expert on the science behind it, so definitely go do your own research when it comes to the science. But when we hear something on repeat, we definitely wire our brains to believe that because we hear it so often. Whether it's truthful, whether it's not truthful. I find myself a lot of the times, because I get discouraged about how bad I feel that I'm doing when it comes to my parenting, I tell myself that I'm a bad mom. But I'm not a bad mom. But if I continue to tell myself that over and over and over and over again, I'm going to start believing that I'm a bad mom. And then so many other things can come from that, right? Beliefs are what guide our steps, what direct us in the actions that we take, in the way that we talk, in the moods that we have, and the things that we feel. That is where everything stems from, is our beliefs. So if we are not believing something that is truth, if we are telling ourselves something that is a lie, then we have to do the hard work. And yes, I say hard work because it's not easy. I have been going through some mindset things that I myself am like, oh, why am I believing that? Like, why am I fearful? Fear is something that has like gripped me here lately, and I'm just really having to dig into it and question, why do I feel so fearful? Now, there is so much proof behind that. Like when I look at the things that I am consuming, this is why I did an episode on this, but this is why it's so important to look at the things that you are consuming, the things that you are feeding your heart and your mind, because those are the things that are going to turn into beliefs that you are going to constantly be going, oh, okay, well, I'm hearing this all the time, so it must be true, so I'm going to start believing it, right? But that's not the case. So when it comes to my fear, if you look at Facebook, if you look at the news, if you look at everything that's being shared around the world, there's just one bad thing after another, after another. This is happening, and now this is happening, and then this happened. And it just can create so much fear. Now, that can leak into my budgeting, right? But it can also just make me make decisions based off of fear, right? And so that is why I have been diving deep into it, so that I can be the best version of myself. I can show up as the best mom as I possibly can, as the best wife, as the best friend, just with the energy that I have. Now, is that gonna be like perfect every single day? No, like I'm gonna flow or ebb and flow with energy, but I can at least know that I'm showing up as the best version of myself with the amount of energy that I have that day, because I am working on my beliefs. I am working on shifting them to ones that are true versus ones that maybe the world has told me, or I've just heard on repeat so many times that I have turned it into a belief and I just believe it without actually having any truth or proof behind it, right? I didn't think about where that belief came from. It's just something that formed. And that's what happens over time when you hear something on repeat. And that's why people do affirmations all the time. And, you know, there's so many thoughts on that, which I don't want to get into that here. But that is essentially what you need to do, is to look at your beliefs. So I could go down that rabbit hole, especially when it comes to like the science behind it, because I do think that is super interesting. And if you have not learned about that, I do suggest you go and do a little bit of research on like the science behind your beliefs and how the mind works and like the neurons and all that stuff. It's really kind of cool. I could geek out on it. But let's dive in to the 4 beliefs that are keeping you stuck, keeping you from being able to stick to your budget, to live in financial peace, and to actually create or build wealth and achieve the financial goals that you have set out to reach, right? So the first one is quite straight to the point, is that I don't need a budget. But is that true? Like, look at where you're at. Or maybe you do have a budget, but is it the right kind of budget? Is it one that's working for you, or is it somebody else's budget that they're like, oh, this works for me, just copy and paste it kind of thing? Like, that doesn't work. Is it the old-fashioned traditional style of budgeting that just weighs on you? It feels exhausting. It feels overwhelming. It feels like something you can't do. So instead of trying to actually sit down and budget, you just pay your bills, then you get your groceries, then you just spend the money as you see fit, right? But is it true? Is that a way that's going to actually build you wealth? Like, where's your proof? If this is something you've been doing for years on end, your proof is right there that that is not true. You need a budget to help you make financial decisions. You need a budget to help you see what is actually happening, because when you're just thinking about it and it's just in your head and you're like, oh yeah, I think this will work. Oh yeah, maybe this will work. But it's not actually doing anything because you don't physically see what's actually going on. And it's so much easier to spend money in areas that need to be saved versus actually saving them and using the money wisely the way it needs to be when you don't have something holding you accountable. And that budget is that first step towards accountability, right? So the proof that you don't need a budget is right there, what you're already doing. Budgeting is important. And yeah, it may be a little time consuming to set up at the beginning, but once you have it set up, it's so much easier. You can have things automated, and once you learn it, you're going to like snap your fingers and be done with it, right? Okay, so that is the first lie that you're telling yourself. The second lie that you're telling yourself is that you don't have the time, right? I don't have the time to sit down and do this budgeting. Like, when you think of budgeting, you think of the traditional style of budgeting, right? Where you have to write down every single transaction that you make. You have to like add it all up and see where it came out of this part of the budget and where it came out of that part of the budget, because it's all in one account. It's not easy to like differentiate where the money came from. It's all just in one big lump sum transaction. And it's just exhausting and overwhelming. And you can sit down and you can budget till you're blue in the face, make all these fun plans and goals, but actually fulfilling those and actually doing what's on the budget feels impossible because you are simply trying to do it the old-fashioned way, and it's just not something that works for you and your family. Other people, it may work great, right? But you are just like, no, I want something that's simpler, something that I can just do easily, right? And so where's the proof in that, right? Where's the proof that you don't have the time? Well, it's right there. You are pretty much, yes, you don't have the time for that old-fashioned style of traditional budgeting. I know, I was there, I've done it. It's not easy. I created this huge, elaborate, like interchangeable worksheet, spreadsheet that like went from one sheet to another with all these things that mixed together, and it was so much fun making, and I loved creating it. And then I went to use it, and I'm like, oh, yeah, I mean, I automated things, made it easy to like add things up and not have to do the math there. But when it comes to actually using it and knowing how much money's coming out of where and taking the time to sit down and actually put the transactions into the budget, nah, I did not want to do that. I did not have the time for that. You don't have the time for that. So that is why I do suggest you put in or implement, that's the word I'm looking for, implement my budgeting system, which is a digital cash envelope system that takes away the time issue. You no longer have to struggle with sticking to your budget simply by knowing how much is in each category, how much is remaining in each category that you've already spent or that you have left to spend, right? You know where it went, you know how much you spent where in each category, and it takes away the time issue. This is something that I really want you to dive into. I really want you to research and look at and see, is this something that's going to benefit you? And I'm going to tell you straight up, yes. Yes, it will benefit you, because I went from the traditional style of budgeting to this style of budgeting, and now I have it automated to the point where I'm barely getting in there and messing with the numbers. Well, minus the fact that my husband likes to change jobs a lot, so I do have to reset the entire budget a lot of the times. But when it comes to like the weekly maintenance or the paycheck, however you're getting paid bi-weekly, the paycheck maintenance, it's not something I have to think about because it is automated, it is done for me, and all I have to do is go in, pay the bills that I couldn't automate, and make sure that my remaining income is being put towards my financial goals. That's it. That's all I have to do. Everything is consistent. The numbers never change unless I go in and say, okay, something does need to change, right? And that is going to save you so much time and money because of the automation, right? So I do want to say the best piece of advice I ever heard, and I don't know if this is necessarily advice or just like some words for thought, but when it comes to your time, the best thing that I've ever heard is that if you're saying you don't have the time, you're actually saying it's not a priority. Let me say that again. If you're telling yourself you don't have the time, you're actually telling yourself it's not a priority. And if you're here, budgeting, figuring out your money, being able to manage it so that you're not stressed over it, so that you're able to build wealth and reach your financial goals, then it is a priority. But there are seasons where it might not be a priority. And I want you to know that that is okay. It's okay for it not to be a priority. But you need to know that. You need to know that right now, there's a lot of things going on in life. There's a lot of new things that I'm learning, and I don't have the time to figure this out. But if you don't have the time to figure this out right now, and you don't have the energy maybe to put into it, because you're being stretched at all points in all different directions, then you need to be okay with the way that you are currently budgeting, with the pay my bills, pay for my groceries, and then whatever with the rest of the money, right? It kind of just goes wherever. That has to be something that you're okay with if you tell yourself you don't have the time, because you are telling yourself it's not a priority. If it is something that is truly important to you, you will make time for it, even if life is busy, right? So if you feel like you don't have the time for it, then I want to tell you, and I want to urge you, stop trying to DIY it. Stop continuously learning and consuming the things that are going to keep you where you're at. Now, yes, this information, these podcasts that I put out are great information, and you are going to learn a lot from them. But if all you do is learn and you don't take action, nothing is going to change, right? So if this is a priority for you, if you actually want to get your budget on track and no longer have to think about it, but it be on repeat and simple, and the processes are automated so you have to do hardly anything when it comes to your paycheck, then come talk to me. Shoot me an email. Ask me what it is that you need answered, right? Ask me if budget coaching is for you, right? We can get on a call. We can talk over what budget coaching can do for you. If it's the right fit for you, we can talk about everything, or I can answer some questions that maybe are keeping you stuck. But get out of the rut, right? If it is a priority, make time to get it done. And if you want to get it done faster so that you can then go and focus on the things that feel like they are actually important versus this, get some help. Whether that's from me, whether that's from a friend, whether that's from another coach. Get some help so that you can get it done faster, more simply, and you don't have to be constantly thinking about it, questioning if what you are doing is right, okay? Okay, I will stop that soapbox, but the time issue is so important, and there are so many beliefs around that you got to work with. You got to figure out what is actually important. Is it more important to spend a little bit of money to get this thing rolling faster? Or are you okay with staying where you're at, staying stuck and continuously doing what you're already doing? That's a question you have to ask yourself. Maybe you are slowly making progress doing it yourself. Great. I applaud you. I encourage you. I support you. If you want help through it, you can come join me in my Facebook group, or you can send me emails and I can answer your questions that you have. But if you are ready to fast forward it and get it going faster, then please reach out and let's connect, or go find somebody who you can actually move the needle forward, right? Find an accountability partner and take the steps and the actions that it takes to get you where you want to be. Okay, I'll stop there. And I will move on to the third lie. And the third lie is that you don't have enough money. How many times have you told yourself that you can't go do something because you don't have enough money, or you don't have the money, or I've spent everything, I live paycheck to paycheck, I gotta wait till the next paycheck. Now, there can be some truth in that when it comes to setting up a budget and you have allotted money to go towards a certain thing and you're like, okay, I have spent all that, I gotta wait till the next paycheck if I want to do something like that. But that is like a financial decision that you come to peace with, and I freely spent that money on whatever I wanted. Now I would like this, but I need to wait until the next paycheck so that I don't affect the rest of my finances. And it's not because you don't have the money, it's because you've made decisions and choices that are keeping you from hurting yourself in other areas, right? Okay, so when it comes to saying that you don't have the money and you are believing this, a lot of the times you do have the money, even if you're living on one income. You just are either choosing it to spend it in other areas, or you have a kind of like a half kind of budget that is not actually like achieving the things that you want, right? It's just a pay the bills. There's no consistency because your bills are all over the place. You never know if you have enough to pay the bills and get groceries. Like, the consistency isn't there. Essentially, what you've done is you're budgeting in a way that doesn't actually achieve your financial goals, right? You've created a budget that just keeps you living paycheck to paycheck, but you've also put so much in maybe debt into other areas, maybe subscriptions, and there's not much margin in your budget. And that's essentially when you feel like you don't have any money, it comes down to margin. So I want to ask you, where is your proof? Is this belief actually true? Do you really not have the money, Are you living on a bare bones budget, which is essentially where you can only pay your bills, eat food, get the groceries you need, and then the rest you're just struggling? Like you don't have the finances to pay for your yearly bills and all that other extra stuff that comes out of nowhere? Because if that's true, then yes, you need to make more money. You need to find a way to bring in a supplemental income or up your pay if that's something that's possible. But a lot of the times, it just comes down to the fact that you have the money, you just haven't set up a budget that allows you to have margin in your budget so that you can build wealth. You've budgeted everything out. You've spent every single dollar and you're not allowing yourself the freedom to be able to have, AKA the money, which I did that in air quotes, because you're essentially spending every single dollar as it comes in. You need to budget in a way, and this is what my base budget is all about, but budget in a way that ensures that there is margin from the get-go. So you're not spending every single dollar and you're like, you have some wiggle room, right? You are able to do stuff with the extra money, which it's not really extra. It's just the remaining because you're not budgeting every single cent into something that you can't get back, right? You are budgeting for freedom. You are budgeting for peace. You are budgeting for space in your budget, but also in your mind, because then you know that you are able to build wealth, you are able to cover unexpected expenses, and you are able to do much more with your money and have a little wiggle room than simply pay your bills and eat groceries, eat food. Okay. I know this episode's getting kind of long, but there is a fourth thing that I want to talk about, a fourth belief, and that is that you don't know what to do, right? You may be telling yourself that you don't know what to do, which is keeping you stuck, and there may be some truth behind that, which I do want you to dig into and see if that's really the truth, or maybe you're just nervous and scared to move forward, right? So I want you to know that God does. He does know what to do. So when you are questioning how to move forward, how to get unstuck and out of this rut that you feel like you are in, out of consumption mode and into action mode, I want you to take it to God. I want you to dive into His Word and journal to Him if that helps you to silence your mind so that you can actually hear from Him, right? And just really ask Him what it is that you should do to move forward, where it is that you are struggling, how you are stuck, and just bring clarity to the things that you are questioning, right? I also want you to know that I know as well when it comes to budgeting. And I can help you if you're struggling. You can get information from the podcast. You can get information by reaching out, which is going to be more high touch, more like straight and to the point for you, right? If you actually ask me your question instead of just looking and researching and trying to be stuck in consumption mode, but trying to find the answers by the broad information that I give out, or even another coach, right? But if you actually reach out and connect, you are going to get more straightforward information for you and the things that you are actually going through, right? So if you are struggling, please, please, please reach out. But also, first and foremost, take it to God. Take it to your husband even as well. Let him know that maybe you're struggling in this area and that you would like help, whether that's support from him or maybe that's support from talking to him and saying, hey, can we get some coaching on this? Because I'm struggling. I don't know how to move forward. I would like to find a better option, a solution to this. And I would like your help and prayer over this because I think it would be a good move forward for our family, right? Take it to him, talk to him, and then reach out to me, reach out to another coach maybe you're listening to. But first and foremost, take it to God and your husband, and then move forward from there. Okay, so how can you take action now, right? The first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down what you notice yourself saying a lot or thinking. Maybe you don't say it out loud, but you think it. Maybe you don't notice it. Ask your husband, ask your friends, and say, hey, when it comes to money, what do I say all the time? What's something that I'm constantly saying that you are questioning it? And what is it that can maybe be keeping me stuck, unable to move forward? They're going to be able to pinpoint those things a lot easier than you are, because your beliefs are your beliefs and you think they're right? So ask a friend, ask your husband, write it down, and then take it to God and pray over it. Like I said, journaling helps me to stay on point and to slow my brain down so that I can actually hear God coming through and answering my questions. But if you just want to sit down and pray and then sit in silence, which is so hard, you can do it that way too, whatever works for you. Then I want you to take it to the Word. So take it to the Bible and find scripture that either backs your belief or counteracts it. And ask God to lead you to the right scripture, right? And make sure that it's in context, because sometimes we can take things out of context very easily. But definitely take it to the Word and find scripture so that you can use that scripture to meditate over it and pray over it and start rewiring your brain to believe the things that are truth versus the things that are false. So then write down your truth. Write down your Bible verse. Put it on a sticky note. Put it on a whiteboard that you see all the time. Put it in your planner, whatever you are constantly looking at, put it there so that you start telling yourself that new truth, that Bible verse, and it becomes a new belief because you are rewiring your brain to believe what is true. Okay, so with that being said, like I've said multiple times in this episode, this is what I want to help you do. I want to help you rewire your brain. I want to help you create beliefs and dig through your beliefs that may not be true and help you find the truth in them so that you can actually move the needle forward. I also want to help you set up the budgeting system that I 100% believe in. One that is simple, one that doesn't take a lot of time. Yes, it does take a little more time when it comes to the initial setup, but then when it comes to the paycheck maintenance, it is so simple, straightforward, not time consuming, it's quick. And even if you forget to do it, it will still work for you, right? Because of the automations, because of the ability to be able to set it on repeat, to have the consistent numbers, and to be able to just do the things without having to worry if something else is going to be okay, back up. What I'm trying to say is this budget will give you consistent numbers and separate things out in a way that allows you to know where your money is going, make solid financial decisions because you know how much money you have in that budget. And it's not the traditional style where everything's all in one account, everything's all in one tracking system, and you don't know how to separate that out very well. It can be a headache. This is already separated for you. It's so much easier to follow, so much easier to track, and you're able to just see what's actually going on, right? So if this sounds like something that you would like to learn more about, if you would like to dig in, you can go straight to my booking page, which is www.calendly.com/Molly Bunnell, and book yourself a budget coaching session. But if you would like more information, if you would like to connect and see if this would be a good fit for you, then go ahead and reach out to me at mollybunnell@gmail.com and let's connect. Let's talk about how this budgeting system, how the coaching is going to not only transform your budget, but transform the way you think about budgeting and transform the way you manage your money so that you are not stressed out, you are not overwhelmed, you are not fearful, but you are living in peace, you are living financially free, and you are able to do it in a way that honors God and brings Him glory while also building wealth. So, again, you can go to calendly.com/mollybunnell to book that coaching call or send me an email at mollybunnell@gmail.com. The links will also be in the show notes. Hey Mama, I pray that today's episode has inspired you and grew you. If so, will you please share it with that friend who is praying for a budget breakthrough and leave a rating and review so that you can help get the podcast out to other mamas struggling with their budget. Also, get some support for yourself by joining my free Facebook group and becoming an insider where you get weekly support emails and are the first to find out when something new is on its way. You can find the links in the show notes, and I will see you right back here next Tuesday.